السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله الذي جعل الشمس والقمر حسبانا والنجم والشجر يسجدان، فضل زمانا على زمان كما فضل إنسانا على إنسان ومكانا على مكان، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا وعلانا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد. Welcome to Quranic Arabic Academy, Arabic Grammar Made Easy, lesson number 10C. ربي يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين. ربي يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين. ربي يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد رسولا. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد رسولا. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد رسولا. Alhamdulillah, we are learning Jumla, how to make sentences in Arabic. Jumlatun is a singular, plural is Jumalun. We've learned the two types of Jumlas. Number one is Al-Jumlatul Ismiyatu, and number two, Al-Jumlatul Fi'liyatu. So let's look at it. Al-Jumlatul Ismiyatu and Al-Jumlatul Fi'liyatu. Jumla Ismiya is made of two parts. The first part is called the Mubtad'a, and in terms of all the properties of Ism, Mubtad'a will be only two. One is At-Ta'yin, which is Ma'rifah. Another one is Al-A'rab, which is Marfu'. The second part is the Khabar, Khabarun. So Khabar will match or follow all the four properties of Ism. So At-Ta'yin, it will be Nakira. Al-A'rab will be Marfu', and An-Naw has to match the Mubtada, and Al-Adad has to match the Mubtada. Okay? Yeah. Now, we add certain words to get additional meaning, and out of that we've learned two of them so far. Number one we've learned is fi'lun naqisun, and we've learned two of them. Number one is kana, number two is laysa. So if kana and laysa comes to a jumla ismiya, what happens? That name of the first part, which is mubtada, changes, and also the second part, khabar, also changes. So mubtada changes to ismu kana or ismu laysa. Khabar becomes khabaru kana if we use kana, or khabaru laysa if we use laysa. What else? Fa'il naqis, it changes the i'rab of khabar. So the i'rab of khabar is mansub. Number two, the thing that we add is inna wa akhawatuha. Inna comes to make the sentence emphatic, to give a stronger meaning. So when inna comes, what happens to the name of the mubtada and name of the khabar? So it becomes the اسم إن, and خبر becomes خبر إن. Okay, again, sorry, there's a kasra on the ba, it should be fatha, خبر إن. What happens to the i'rab? The i'rab of mubtada, which is اسم إن now, it changes. The i'rab of اسم إن, it changes to mansub. Okay, and the rest of the things remains or stays the same. And the i'rab of khabar also will change to marfu, back to normal. So this is complete the chart of inna. When inna comes to jumla ismiya, the mubtada is called ismu inna, the khabar is called khabaru inna, and the in terms of ta'yin remains the same, which is ma'rifa, and khabar is nakira. In terms of i'rab, ismu inna changes to mansub, and khabaru inna, which is normal, marfu'. Today we're going to learn in this lesson, again the main title is the same, adding certain words to jumla ismiya to get additional meaning. Adding adawatul istifham to a jumla ismiya. Adawatul istifham, a new term, adawat. I'll explain that in a minute. And then we will learn what happens to the i'rab of mubtada and khabar. Let's see some of the words. Adding certain words in jumlatul ismiya to make al-jumlatul ismiya interrogative, asking questions. So we'll turn normal jumla ismiya into a question jumla ismiya or interrogative jumla. So suppose we have these words in front of us. This, a pen. This, a door. This, a house. This, a man. This, a book. We need a question word here. So this will be the subject, and this side will be the khabar. We need a question word. So here is. So this question word is makes the jumla ismiya interrogative. Is this a pen? Is this a door? Is this a house? Is this a man? Is this a book? We also can have some other words. Is this? Is that? Is this? Are these? Are those? Again, we can have some question words. What? What is this? What is that? Who is this? Who are these? Who are those? So different ways of making jumla ismiya a question jumla or interrogative jumla. So this is what we're going to learn today. So we can add three types of words to jumla ismiya. Number one, we've learned about fi'lun naqisun. And number two, we've learned harfun mushabbahun bil fi'li. It also has three other names. Going back to fi'lun naqisun, we also call them inna wa akhawatuha, or fi'lun naqisun. Harfun mushabbahun bil fi'l, number two, it has other names. Harfun nasb, or al-harfun nasikh. Harfun nasb, or al-harfun nasikh. So we can use any of these. Which one is easy for us, we'll use that. Harfun mushabbahun bil fi'li. Number three, adawatul istifham. In the previous lesson, I've written harful istifham. But if we write harful istifham it will be only harf, but they are ism as used for istifham. So next time, whenever we have some harf used to get a meaning, also there's some ism are used to get the same meaning. So istifham, which is a question, we have some huruf we can use to ask questions. We also have some asma, isms, used as a question, for a question. So when we have both for one subject, we have harf and ism, those are called adawat. Because if we just say harf, we are limiting to harf. If we just say ism, we are limiting only, it has only ism. No, it has both. Some huruf, some asma. So we call them adawat. So adawat means both huruf and asma. Okay? So adawatul istifham. Understood the word adawat? When some group, it has huruf and also asma. So those are called adawat. Okay, let's move on. What is adawatul istifham? Adawatul istifham are a set of particles and nouns that comes before a jumla ismiya to make al-jumlatul ismiya interrogative. Okay, there are a set of particles, which is huruf, and set of nouns, which is asma, to make the jumla ismiya interrogative, asking question. There are two harful istifham. There are two harful istifham. We use this one of these two harf to ask question. Number one is hamza, which is a. Number two is hal. A and hal both means the same. We have a choice which one to use. But if the mubtada is mu'arraf bil lam, starting with alif lam, it's best to use hal, not to use a, because it will be ar-rajulu, for example, ar-rajulu. So if we say hal ar-rajulu, then it's easier. So now we're going to see the asma of istifham. So adawatul istifham, a set of huruf and asma that comes before a jumla ismiya to make jumla ismiya interrogative. There are 11 asma'ul istifham. We've just learned harf ul istifham. There are only two harf ul istifham. Number one, which is hamza, a, and hal. But the asma'ul istifham are 11. So let's look at them. We start from the right. Number one, ma means what. Madha also means what. Man, who. Man the, who. Kayfa, how. Aina, where. Mata, when. Ayyana, when. Anna, how is that. Where from. Can mean both. The context will tell us which one to translate. Ayyu means which, and kam, how much or how many. So these are the 11 asma istifham. They are all used in the Quran. So Let's try to memorize them. Let's try to learn them. So ما ماذا من من ذا كيف أين متى أيان أنا أي and كم. Okay, let's move on. So we have أدوات الاستفهام, and they are two. One is حرف الاستفهام and one is اسم الاستفهام, or حروف الاستفهام or أسماء الاستفهام. So why do we have two groups then? What is the difference? The difference between حروف الاستفهام and أسماء الاستفهام. The difference between حروف الاستفهام and أسماء الاستفهام is that حروف الاستفهام are used when the answer is just simple yes or no. When the answer is yes or no, then we use those two حرف الاستفهام. أسماء الاستفهام are used when the answer requires more details. When we expect answer to be more just than a yes or no. If we expect just the answer yes or no, then we use حروف الاستفهام, the hamza or the hal. But if we want more details, we use the أسماء الاستفهام. This is the difference between these two groups. Understood the difference between حروف الاستفهام and أسماء الاستفهام? Okay, let's move on. The rules of حرف الاستفهام. So we will be discussing about the two حرف الاستفهام, and then we will be discussing about the أسماء الاستفهام. So the rules of حرف الاستفهام. When a حرف الاستفهام comes before a جملة اسمية, it brings no changes to the جملة اسمية. So far we've learned فعل ناقص brings changes to جملة اسمية. Then we've learned حرف مشبه بالفعل that also brings changes to جملة اسمية. But حرف الاستفهام brings no change to the جملة اسمية. Both حرف الاستفهام are مبني. We've learned this before, that all حروف, all types of حروف are مبني. Either it be حرف الاستفهام, or either it be حرف مشبه بالفعل, or those other حروف we're going to learn. All حروف are مبني. Both are غير عامل. So the حرف الاستفهام همزة and حرف الاستفهام هل, both are غير عامل, means they don't bring any changes to the words in the جملة, or they don't bring any change to the جملة اسمية, and both has no slot in the sentence. So all حروف have no slots in the sentence. So I will point out some of the حروفs we've already done in the past. When we analyze, when we do اعراب, how do we do the اعراب? When a word doesn't have a slot in the sentence. So far we've learned two slots. because we're learning الجملة الاسمية, and it is only 2 slots, which is مبتدأ and خبر. So حروف does not take any of these slots, because these slots already fixed for the المعرفة, or the word معرفة, and the word nakira. So all the huruf has no slot in the sentence. So because we're learning حرف الاستفهام, so let's talk about حرف الاستفهام. So حرف الاستفهام both are مبني, both are غير عامل, and both has no slot in the sentence. So very quickly, let's recap our جملة اسمية. It has 2 parts, مبتدأ and the خبر. So in terms of تعيين, مبتدأ is معرفة, the خبر is nakira. In terms of الاعراب, مبتدأ is مرفوع, خبر also مرفوع. In terms of النوع, the خبر has to match مبتدأ. In terms of العدد, the خبر has to match the مبتدأ. All right. Okay. And because these حروف or حرف الاستفهام, it does not bring any change to the جملة اسمية, so it will remain the same. Okay. Let's say some examples using the hamza with جملة اسمية. We've learned the rules that حرف الاستفهام brings no changes into the جملة اسمية. جملة اسمية will remain the same as مبتدأ and خبر. But when we analyze, when we do اعراب, we have to mention what type of word is this? What type of word is this? And does it have, is it a mu'rab or is it a mabni? Does it have any slots in the sentence or no? Okay. So again, let's look at the some examples. We're going to use the again. Sorry, I forgot. Change the keyboard. So is the حرف الاستفهام. Then we use اسم الإشارة. So far, we haven't used أسماء الإشارة in the 2 slots, مبتدأ or خبر. So today, let's use اسم الإشارة. So هذا قلم. هذا قلم, because it's a question. هذا قلم. So if we look at the keyb, we label the حرف استفهام. حرف استفهام. Then we label هذا, which is مبتدأ. We label قلم as خبر. Translation: is this a pen? And the اعراب. Now this is how we do اعراب of the حرف الاستفهام. and the اسم الإشارة. which is همزة حرف استفهام مبني على الفتح, which is we said المبني on what? Some will have مبني on ضم, some will have مبني on الفتح, some will have مبني on الكسر, some will have مبني on سكون. So here important point to remember, when we have any word سمو حرف مبني, we say على الفتح, not على الفتحة, على الفتح. The مبني words we use على الفتح, and more of words, those are changeable, the changes, we use فتحة with the round at the end, الضمة, yeah, الفتحة, الكسرة, okay. But for the مبني, we don't use the الفتحة, the round ta, والضمة. We say الضم, الفتح, الكسر, السكون. And because we've learned all huruf has no slot in the sentence, we say لا محل له من الإعراب. It has no space, no slot. محل means slot, place. It has no place in the إعراب. So حرف استفهام مبني على الفتح لا محل له من الإعراب. هذا اسم إشارة مبني. So we've learned اسم الإشارة are all مبني except the المثنى. So اسم إشارة مبني. مبني on what? على السكون. مبني على السكون. You see the alif at the end, it has hidden sukun. So this مبني على السكون. Now, what is the slot of this اسم الإشارة now? في محل رفع. It is in the place of رفع, because in the place of مبتدأ, and مبتدأ is مرفوع. So في محل رفع. So what does it become? It becomes مبتدأ. It becomes مبتدأ. Now, one important thing here to remember. So when the مبتدأ is a solid noun, not اسم الإشارة, not damir, not al-ism al-mawsul. It is a solid ism. Like here, قلم is a solid ism, name of something. Okay? So when in the case of mubtada we have solid ism, not the solid ism, we just start with what it becomes, and then we say the rest. But when it is not a solid ism, we start with the name first. So if here it was a damir, instead of hada, we will say damirun. If here was al-ism al-mawsul, we'll start with the name al-ism al-mawsul, because we want to give more details about this ism. Solid isms, we don't need to name it. It is ism. لقلم, we don't need to name it. It's a solid ism. Okay? So هذا, we have to mention the name. What type of ism is this? هذا اسم إشارة مبني على السكون. And what is the slot? What is the اعراب? في محل رفع. It is in place of رفع, and which is مبتدأ. قلم Again, this is a solid ism. It has no name. So we don't need to mention the name. We say what it becomes. It is khabarun. The slot is khabarun. Now we say the rest of it. What is the i'rab? What is the sign? مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. So in the previous lesson we used the harf inna. So if there was inna here, we have to say inna حرف ناسخ. إن حرف مشبه بالفعل, whichever. So إن حرف ناسخ مبني على الفتح, and we say لا محل له من الإعراب. So understood? So when we have a group of isms that have a name, we have to mention the name first. So I'll give you one or two examples and we'll understand, inshallah. So this is our jumla, interrogative jumla. You can say al-jumla al-istifhamiyya, a question jumla or interrogative jumla. Okay, mashallah. Let's move on. So our next example, again, I'm not sure which one. So I'll just write, we'll see. If not, then we'll change it. Okay. Okay, so we have or we can use hal. Okay, or hal. Let's use a damir. Let's use a damir because we haven't used a damir so far, because we've learned a damir is a part of ma'rifa. So if it's ma'rifa, damir also can be used as mubtada. And we've learned three types of damirs. One is called ad-damir al-marfu'. So because they are fixed, marfu' case, so here we can only use in mubtada, marfu' case, mubtada. Can you use damir for khabar? No, because the khabar is normally nakira and damir is a marifa. Okay. So let's see. Anta. So we can say anta, or we can say hal anta. So anta means you, and talibun زي question. أو أنت طالب or هل أنت طالب. So tarkib is straightforward. When we tarkib is or hal حرف استفهام, أنت is مبتدأ, and طالب is خبر. Again, on the خبر it should be tanween, so خبر. Oh no. Okay. So okay. So is that a donkey? Or hal ذلك, isn't it? That ذلك. ذلك. And what is donkey? Is حمار. هل ذلك حمار? Now if you see, probably we've learned اسم الإشارة قريب and بعيد. So the هذا, on the letter ha we have only fatha, but it is read as a a long fatha. Same thing here, ذلك. On the dhal, it has a fatha, but is read as long fatha. It is read a long fatha. هل ذلك حمار? Is that a donkey? So اعراب will be again here another thing to understand. You know, in اسم الإشارة or small إشارة, the letter dhal is the main is إشارة, dha. So in هذا, the dha is at the end, and ذلك, the dha is at the beginning. Yeah. So remember, the dhal is the actual اسم الإشارة. So in هذا has a different name, and the dha is اسم الإشارة. Over here, ذلك, the dha is اسم الإشارة, and lika or the ka is بعيد, is for بعيد. That's why I didn't go into more technical details. Just keep as it is. هذا, we look at the dhal, and ذلك, we also look at the dhal. So اعراب will be حرف استفهام مبني على الفتح لا محل له من الإعراب. ذلك اسم إشارة مبني على الفتح في محل رفع مبتدأ. ذلك اسم إشارة مبني على الفتح. So why are we saying على الفتح over here? Because we're looking at the dhal. Don't look at the kaf. Look at the dhal. Dhal has a fatha, al-fathi. And what is the slot? Is mubtada, so محل رفع. حمار خبر مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. Right. I think the next one should be, yeah. Are you a student? Let's go through that again quickly. Or hal, we can use both. أنت هل أنت طالب or أنت طالب? Are you a student? Over here we used الضمير أنت. So حرف استفهام مبني على الفتح لا محل له من الإعراب. So when we use هل, and when we talk about هل, we say هل حرف استفهام مبني على السكون. مبني على السكون, because we have a sukun here. أنت ضمير. What type of ضمير is it? It's مرفوع ضمير. If we have mansub ضمير, we say that mansub. If we have majrur ضمير, we say majrur. And we have عدا منفصل ضمير, detached, or متصل ضمير, attached. We have to say that as well. So anta is a damir in rafa case, which is detached. So the anta damirun marfu'un munfasilun. And we also learned all damirs are mabni. So mabniyun ala al-fathi. Look at the ta, it is a fatha. And this damir have a slot. في محل رفع مبتدأ. طالب, very easy, خبر مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. All right, so what is the next example? Is this lesson easy? Let's use هل. هل, we need the مبتدأ. What is we talking about? Lesson. الدار. What is الدار? How will show his اعراب? With the dhamma or with fatha or with kasra? How this mubtada will show اعراب? Is it with fatha? Is it with dhamma? Or is it with kasra? Yes, with dhamma, because hal is غير عامل. غير عامل, so it doesn't change anything to the mubtada. So الدرس, and we need a khabar. Ask a question. سهل. هل الدرس سهل? Now over here we've done this before, that when we have two sukuns together, one sukun here, another sukun on the lam here, as we have a tajdeed, this is why we don't see the sukun. Sukun is there. When we want to use hal and two sukun comes together, so we put a kasra, and I put both together. Let's try it. No. Okay. So we need to put a kasra. So halid darsu sahlun. Halid darsu. Right. Okay. I thought we were talking about still the mubtada. Kasra. Why kasra? Okay, I got it now. So first question was the mubtada i'rab dhamma. Yes, you're correct. And second question was the hal. Yes, it has a kasra. So halid darsu sahlun is the lesson easy. Do the rab quickly. هل حرف استفهام مبني على السكون لا محل له من الإعراب. الدرس, see, dars does not belong to any of the group of the nouns, of the isms, so we don't need to mention the name. We just straight say مبتدا. الدرس مبتدأ مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. سهل خبر مرفوع وعلامة رفع الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. Still so far, are we using hal? Right. Okay, so this is the end of lesson 10C. So we had some examples. Quickly recap, we are adding some words to Jumla Ismiya to give additional meaning. We, in the past lesson, we add the فعل ناقص وإن وأخواتها, and then we add حرف مشبه بالفعل or إن وأخواتها. Now today in this lesson we've learned أدوات الاستفهام. There are two types. One is حرف الاستفهام, one is اسم الاستفهام. حرف الاستفهام are two, and hal. They are mabni and they have no slot in the sentence. So in the i'rab we say لا محل له من الإعراب. Hamza, because it has a fatha, we say mabni على الفتح. Hal, it has a sukun, we say mabni على السكون. So let's go back. I just want to point out one thing. Yeah. Although we did the kasra here, halid darsu, doesn't change, does it? It remains the original hal. We're going to talk about hal. We're not going to say li anymore. We're not going to say hali when we do the i'rab. We'll bring the original, which was hal. Because if we say hali, it will be mabni ala al-kasr. Mabni ala al-kasr, which is not correct, is it? Hal always, when we do i'rab, we talk about the default of it, the original. May Allah give us tawfiq. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.